everybody. Teresa Shaver from the Business Advisory Centre Durham. Join me as we meet Angelique Benois from Nurturing Our Wellbeing. Angie has recently joined the Expert Network at BACD and has also been a client at BACD for a number of years. Her business delivers workshops and training and education on mental health and wellness. Stay tuned. So hello, everybody. It's Teresa Shaver from the Business Advisory Centre Durham. And today I'm really excited to have Angelique Benois from Nurturing Our Wellbeing.
Hi. Hello, Teresa.
Thank you for being with me today. I'd love you to tell people, how did you come up with the name Nurturing Our Wellbeing?
So Nurturing Our Wellbeing, well, it was a journey to land on the name. And then when it came, it sat with me, and it's based off of three things. So the nurturing hour, I thought the hour was really, really important because I really feel like it's our responsibility to take care of one another, but it's also our responsibility to do our own piece, because then it ripples out to all the people that we interact with, both at work and at home. And then the Nurturing Our Wellbeing, the acronym is NOW. And that's what I believe in regards to self-care. It's like, you have to act now. If you procrastinate, there's a possibility you may not do it. It's about doing something small, but doing it right now. And then the nurturing piece, it was the final piece. It's about nurturing yourself as you evolve, right? In different ways, from different approaches. That's currently focusing on the busy professional, so going into workplaces and offering an educational piece in regards to mental health, but also a practical, sustainable self-care kind of service as well in the webinars and workshops.
Excellent. Tell me a little bit more about that. What does it mean when you say education? Because like sometimes people just zone out when it comes to like mental health. What do you mean mental health? It's always like everybody's talking about mental health, but what does it really mean?
So really and truly, the way that I look at it, it's the core of your wellness, right? It's the core of your essence of who you are, how you address any type of stressors. And let's face it, we're all experiencing stressor in our life at some point. So it's about how do we adapt to the stressors that our life is presenting with us, and how we function day to day in regards to our work life, in regards to our personal lives, and just in regards to ourselves.
Right.
So the educational piece is really about having those safe conversations and those brave conversations in regards to what is happening with yourself, and if there's any type of challenges that you're facing mentally or emotionally, what can you do about it? So there's that educational piece, that anti-stigma, talking about those pieces. And then the self-care piece is about the practical stuff. Like, what can you really do day to day to make a difference?
Right. Yeah. I'm someone who actually suffers quite a bit with anxiety. And, you know, I was just telling someone that I struggle to talk myself out of something. I'm great at talking myself into like this, or overthinking something, right? But I struggle sometimes how to get out of it. I don't know if you have ideas for people when they feel like it's not just anxiety. There's just so many things going on right now. What would your tip be for people to just kind of calm down or step outside of that situation?
Yeah, no, that's great. And I think you're absolutely right. Like that's common for many people now. And my approach to self-care is really about holistic. And the way that, like, we're always changing. Right. So we're not the same person we were 5 years ago, 3 years ago, even like, you know, a couple of months ago. So I really believe that our self-care practices need to reflect that and evolve with us. Okay. So it's about, experimenting in regards to what is going to work with you now. So maybe an approach in regards to something, a mindfulness technique may work with you now, maybe not. Maybe you might need to do some type of energetic work, some tapping or something like that. Maybe that might work for you, maybe not. So it's really about trying different things. Maybe it's a cognitive approach for you. So it's really about the self-care being very holistic in its nature to kind of see what works for you in that moment. And that's the beauty about it. And having a lot of strategies under your belt is that if you're noticing that you're ruminating or you're being overwhelmed or you're overthinking something, and you really want to get out of that stuck feeling, is to try something for a brief moment and being able to kind of reflect in it and seeing if you can expand that ability to stay in it or to kind of let it go. And with practice, that's why it's a practice, it naturally happens.
Right. Yeah. How many years have you been involved in all of this?
Oh my goodness. So interestingly, I always surprise myself when I am writing that up. So it's been 20 plus years. So I've been doing it in regards to when I started psychology, and then I've been in the nursing field now for 20 plus years. And I did my specialty in mental health and addictions. So yeah, so different realms and different sectors, I've been doing it. And then just by myself, my own self-care practice as well, for my own personal health. Yeah.
What made you decide to get into this industry?
in nursing in general and into healthcare?
Nursing and even the psychology, mental wealth and wellness, because you've literally probably evolved a little bit, right? Into mental health and away from nursing.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's interesting that you say that, because a lot of the times, and when people think of nursing, they think of nursing in a particular way, like, you know, needle bedside, you know, bedside nursing. But there's nursing has so many scopes. So I still view this as a nursing role, right? And my interest in regards to getting to it, I've always been curious about the human mind and human behavior, just how we're so different, but yet still so much the same.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's so true. I think for me, one of the most freeing things I ever learned was that we all are so the same. Like we all think that we are unique in terms of like the stressors and things that affect us. Yeah. And we're not. It's not unique. We're unique individuals, but many of the stresses are the same for people, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So we always think like it's unique as in it's a bad unique thing, but it isn't. A lot of people suffer from the same thing. So yeah, I'm glad to hear that for sure.
And the strength in recognizing that too.
Yeah. Is your business busy right now because of the pandemic?
Yeah, it's a different kind of busy. There's a lot of workplaces that are really curious and wanting to know. Sometimes some of them know what they want, and some of them they don't know. They know there's a need, but they don't know exactly what's the best fit. So there's a lot of consultation taking place in regards to it. There's a lot of like customizing the webinars to meet their needs. But it's definitely growing in regards to people realizing that the workplace and the workspaces, now that we are working from home and there's so many different ways that work is really taking place, that the self-care is paramount. Like it's just a need anymore. Like,
yes, agreed with you. I many businesses I talk to and clients of ours and even myself, I literally feel like I sit at my desk all day long and I don't leave.
Yeah.
And you know, I feel like there's no change over the environment, which makes it a bit more difficult, right? There's not a delineation between work and home.
Yes, definitely. Together. Yeah, those meshings, it makes it hard for some people to have those boundaries.
Yeah.
Right. And then that just, once again, it just amplifies all of the different mental health problems that you can see day to day, right? Not having those pauses and the social disconnects and, you know.
Good point. You went through the Start a Company program with BACD, correct? A couple of years ago. Can you share with the audience what was your experience? What do you feel you learned through that program and how was it for you?
Oh my goodness, I learned so much. I learned so much in regards to myself, in regards to the importance of networking, a different way of organizing myself as well. And a big shift for me is about my value for the knowledge that I have. So going through that program really helped me to recognize that there's when I talk about value, not in regards to the impact, I already knew that, but the pricing piece, that was a hard shift for me. So, but I learned a lot, like many connections that I'm still in communication with right now, and ways to kind of really be organized in regards to a business. I've never really saw myself as an entrepreneur. So I grew a lot from that program.
That's good. I'm glad. Do you recommend it to people to take part in?
Oh, most definitely. Yeah. Oh, most definitely. For many different reasons. Yeah, most definitely.
Yes. I think that entrepreneurship is like the most important self-development tool that you could ever use, because it teaches you to be uncomfortable with change, uncomfortable with risk, uncomfortable with learning, doing things that you don't know whether you really know how to do them. So it's just, and meeting new people, right? For some people that comes naturally, for other people that's difficult. Here you are learning to, you know, be interviewed on video, and then you're, you know, doing your market research and then marketing. Like there's just so many facets to being in business, right?
Yeah. And it's empowering because it's through that process of slowing down and really taking inventory of what your services and what your offer is, you realize, oh my goodness, like I have so much to offer. Like, and a lot of the times you're just in it and you're just, well, especially in the caring field, you're just serving and serving and giving and giving. You don't really pause. So it was great for that.
That's true. And you know, even when you introduced yourself in the very beginning, you literally just said, you know, it's mental health services, education and self-care practices. Right now, under that, Angie, there must be 20 different modalities that you're using, at least, if not more, right?
Yeah. There's so many different approaches and modalities, and that's the piece that how I view it as different, and the feedback that I'm getting from my clients about this different, is that it's really that shift from knowing intellectually about mental health and self-care, but it's also the opportunity to be guided through a practical, sustainable practice that you can do and interject in your days that people really, really value.
That's very true. Very, very true. So tell me a little bit more about you as a business owner. Like, what are your challenges that you have in running your business? I'm sure people would love, just love to hear what those can be,
Mm-hmm. Oh, where do I begin? So, well, I'm a mother. So my daughter now is 8. So that balance in regards to that, it's a very different space to be in regards to having your own business and having to kind of navigate that time frame that you take off your mommy hat and you're an entrepreneur. Now now you take off the entrepreneur and your mommy, and to fully be in those moments 100%, right? For me to really practice what I preach. So that has been a challenge, but once again, it's a great learning for me and a great learning for her as well.
Right. And when she was home, I guess you had to work and homeschool her at the same time too, which must have been just an added challenge, right?
Yeah. For all the parents out there, it's a very different way of navigating your mind, your time, your prioritizing, like everything.
Yes. I definitely try to be compassionate with my team when all this was going on, because it's not an easy time to try and make sure your kids are doing what they need to be doing and they're engaged in their school platforms, and you're trying to do your work and you're trying to cook and grocery shop and all these requirements that you have on top of you. Not simple.
Definitely. And then deal with your own guilt that comes with that too, right? Yeah. So I experienced that, and I've spoken to many different parents and professionals that they've been dealing with that too. Just really a lot of doubting if the balance is right. And yeah, so.
Yeah, you're right. And I guess we'll always doubt ourselves, right? But I think at the end of the day, we can rather say, what went right today? What do I feel proud of? And I think that's a good way to kind of like end the day in terms of how you feel about what you're doing, right?
Definitely. So and that's the highlight of self-care.
I know.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about, I know that you mentioned that you realize the importance of networking. What's one of the best ways that your business grows? Like, what marketing channel works really well for you? I'm not talking about like social media maybe, but I'm just saying, like, what works for you to market your business?
Being very authentic whenever I'm serving, honestly and truly. When I'm serving, I am just upfront. If I don't know something, I say I don't know and I'll find it. I talk about in regards to the fact that sometimes, self-care might be dull and how you can spice it up. Like, there's so many different things. So just being very raw and authentic with it, based on my own journey and helping different professionals along the way, I think has really helped, because that's what the word of mouth is coming from. Mm-hmm. So someone else speaks about it and about the experience and the connection that we had. And then someone's like, oh, okay, let me find out. And then they reach out, and it just continues like that. So I'm so grateful that people just see that I'm just being very authentic, and I'm very passionate about it.
That's wonderful. Question for you. When you market yourself, do you run workshops? Do you do individual practice? How do you share like the services that you offer people?
So currently the model that I have right now is groups. Mm-hmm. It started off with individuals, and then from the feedback from the individuals, that's how it kind of grew into groups. Because then people say, oh, I wish my colleague knew this, or I wish my manager knew, or I wish my teams know this. And then they kind of introduce, and it kind of just expanded in regards to that way. So now it's groups.
Just groups. And yeah. Is there different kinds of groups? Is there like professional work group, team groups, and then there's just other groups that you run as well, like where individuals who don't know each other could come together?
Oh, I see what you're saying. So right now, the way it is I usually go into a workspace where people relatively know each other. Sometimes it's large companies where really and truly they don't know each other. The only commonality is that they know they work in the same place, but they're in a completely different department or different branch, or whatever the situation. So it's kind of like strangers, but yeah. And the odd time I will do things for the community. So I do with some of the partnerships that I have, which is one of the things for 2021, expanding my partnerships. So I do joint ventures with different organizations, and that is more in regards to the community, because
Right.
everybody needs to know about this, right?
So true. And do you do any private practice at all?
It's very, very small.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very small, and very specific situations. Like someone's
right.
really,
Yeah. That's good to know. So Angie, and we call you Angie, but I know it's Angelique as well. But I'd love everybody to go and have a look at Angie's website and connect with Angie. As we all know, without mental health, we really don't have anything. It starts with our mental health. It becomes our physical health if we don't take care of the mental health. So very, very important to invest in it for yourself and also for your employees or your team members or the associations you're part of. So Angie, thank you so much for your time today. It was
Thank
wonderful.
you.